Well, welcome. One of the things that often gets overlooked when people create web pages or apps is that Contact Us page. Often it has forms of communication that have been around for decades, things such as phone calls or email. Cisco has created a set of APIs that allow for developers to easily create and embed real-time voice and video into existing web pages or apps. So whether it's an existing iOS or Android app or web page, you're easily able to embed voice and video capabilities straight into that app or web page with very few lines of code. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to need is the Jabberguest APIs. Now these can be found by doing a quick Google search. I'll also have some links a little bit further on in this video to pinpoint you straight to the respective pages. Within these Jabberguest APIs, this contains the full set of API calls that you can make. There's also a set of examples that you can also see firsthand how to embed these into an existing app or web page. The second thing you're going to need is a web page of some sort or an existing iOS or Android app. So in the first example, let's assume we're going to embed some functionality into an iOS-based app. So the first thing we're going to do is use Xcode and open up an existing app or create a new one. I've provided a link here that actually goes into significant detail through all the respective calls that we might wish to make. It also contains the place to download the actual framework for which we will import into the next step that you'll see in a moment. We now go ahead and drag that framework that we downloaded straight into Xcode, into the respective framework section. And then really it's just a matter of adding 2 lines. Now we can go ahead and add additional lines to customize it, but at the very basic level, we simply add these 2 lines here, call set server name and call set to URI. These can be any addresses that we need them to be. Cisco has provided a sandbox environment for which those respective fields will be jabberguestsandbox.cisco.com and the set to URI will be 5555. And here's a snippet straight from Xcode of what those 2 values how they'll appear in our code. Now let's take a look at embedding voice and video into a web page. Now we simply access our web server and embed a URL that looks something similar to the third line here with our server name followed by call followed by the desired phone number. You would embed this in something like an ahref call in your HTML code. More details can be found off the URL at the bottom of this page here that actually demonstrates an example for which you can see firsthand how this all works. So hopefully what I've shown you here is a simple way of embedding voice and video functions into a web page or an iOS or Android based app that creates unique ways in which your users can communicate with you and your organization.